All right, boys and girls, let us finish this up. So today we're going to talk about the president's foreign policy powers and national security. So here's our goals. So when I'm done talking, you should be able to answer these two questions easily. All right, so we have 5 foreign policy goals. Number 1, we want national security. We want to make sure all of our people and our borders are safe so that there's no one scary getting in, killing us in our sleep. We also want to support democracy around the world. We would like to open free trade with the world. That gets our goods into markets and gets our business owners lots and lots of money. The United States is also one of the most generous countries in the world. Not one of the most, we're the most generous country in the world. So we like to give aid to people in need. There's lots of countries that get lots of money from us. And also, we would like to promote world peace. We love everyone to be happy and safe, just like us. So those are our 5 goals of foreign policy. So the president has a huge amount of influence over foreign policy. Mostly because we feel like it's his role. Now, prior to easy travel, such as airplanes and really fast boats and things like that, the president didn't really get out much. He pretty much stayed in Washington. But now, with cool things like Air Force One, he goes all over the world all of the time. Also, he's commander-in-chief of the Army, which means he can send the military wherever he wants for a little bit of time and promote our values that way. And he can make treaties and executive agreements with countries without Congress's approval. Now, one of the cabinet positions is Department of State, which is our Secretary of State, which if you can name who that is on the next test, extra credit for you. Hopefully it hasn't changed by then. So, Department of State. This is really what they do. So when you hear Secretary of State, this is what they're in charge of. They are in charge of our diplomatic relations with other countries. So our Secretary of State actually is traveling all the time. I believe he's actually traveling right now. Last week he just got back from North Korea. And he was somewhere else weird this week. He maintains embassies and consulates around the world. And the Department of State is also the ones who issue passports and visas. So if you have your passport, your paperwork went to the Department of State. Now, foreign policy, super important stuff here. Foreign policy is how we deal with other countries. It's kind of our philosophy on what we should do about things going on in the world. So really the big thing here, our foreign policy for about 40 years was containment, and that was battling communism around the world. Communism was seen as a direct threat to capitalism, and still is today. I mean, just mention capitalism to a parent and see what happens. Or not capitalism, just mention communism to a parent and see what happens. I'm sure it'll be a good time. So we wanted to stop communism at all costs, so we gave lots of money in foreign aid to other countries. And a few times we even sent our army to places that were under direct communist threat, such as Korea and Vietnam. So containment, remember, keeping communism where it is, not letting it spread, because let's be honest, we're not going to take on the Soviet Union head on. And for you young kids, Soviet Union's Russia. It's what we grew up calling it, us old people. So keeping communism where it was is known as containment, and we just wanted to stop communist expansion. So if we're able to stop the spread of communism, we can keep it where it is. People will see that communism sucks. They won't want to be communist, and then communism will fail. And capitalism will win. Go us. It reflects idealist and realist principles. Idealist in the sense that if you stop expansion, communism will fall. Realist is communism is a threat to capitalism. And so it's big and scary because we like our capitalist stuff. And communist has been done very badly by some very terrible leaders. It's a way for the government to get complete and total control over all industries and people. And it really sucks. And so we didn't want it expanding around the world and then being on our borders, causing us to maybe become communist as well. So I said earlier, we are one of the most, not one of the most, we are the most giving country in the world. We give billions of dollars every year in foreign aid. And it's not all peace and stability and prosperity. It's also, we want other markets for U.S. goods. So we want countries be like, ooh, look at that American stuff. It's kind of nice. So they kind of want our stuff. And it makes other countries be like, oh, look, America's so nice. We like them a lot. So it helps promote the public good by promoting the public good of foreign countries. Now, sometimes just being really nice and giving lots of money to people isn't good enough. For as long as there have been countries, there have been alliances. And these are agreements to protect each other. So some of our biggest allies are England, France, Germany, Canada. Those are some of our strongest allies. Japan, another one. So there are different kinds of alliances. There's a mutual defense alliance. There's a security agreement between two countries, promising to keep each other safe. And there's even alliances that have been formed to end military disagreements. So alliances are good because it gives collective security to all of the members. The bigger your alliance is, the less people are going to want to mess with you. And there's increased cooperation, both economically and militarily, between countries when they're in an alliance. Sometimes you have a trade alliance, which means you're trading with each other freely, which, remember, is one of our foreign policy goals. And that's our notes. Isn't that quick and easy and lovely?